Hi everybody, welcome to the Eco-Friendly Banter. Today this video is going to be about a channel message and a couple of tips on how we can grasp it. But let's open ourselves up to the guidance and then we'll see what else comes up. So the message that came up was, I guess you can see it already. It says, someone will try to make you do something against your will. And then suddenly I was reminded of the story of Milarepa and then it kind of connected all the dots. The story goes that when he was meditating in the Himalayas, a news spread across the town that Milarepa, he has a Siddha mantra. A master has chanted a mantra so many times that now the mantra has become even more powerful. So if this master gives that mantra to somebody else, that person will be able to achieve the results of that mantra or the miraculous powers faster than anybody else because this master has kind of received the siddhis, with that mantra itself. So it's basically the potency in the words of the master. So this news spread like wildfire. People started coming up to him, and then there's this one person who came and he said, give me your siddha mantra, I want enlightenment. And then Milarepa said, okay, you can chant om om om, but there's one condition, that you should not think of monkeys. And turns out the person kept on chanting the mantra, but at the same time kept on thinking of the monkeys. Then he came back, and then he told Milarepa, he said, I can't do it. He said, give me the mantra in next life, but please don't say, do not think of monkeys. Because what you said, what you asked me to not do, it is happening on its own. And this is exactly what it says. It says someone will try to make you do something against your will. So this is the message, how to control our mind, or how to use our mind in a way where it is not going against our will. How many times have you thought that you will not get angry, or you won't get sad, or you won't overthink about certain things, or you won't think about that one person, ruminate over certain things, or if someone is stuck in limerence, let's say. All of this happens because there are certain reasons that we are not aware of, and we need to realize what those reasons are. And once all of that comes to the surface, we'll be able to sort of release these patterns. Since the 21 Tara series is formed around understanding ourselves, this is going to be very, very helpful. And also, before we do any other thing, before we talk about any other thing, it's also important to note that this dissonance in your mind, when your mind is doing things that you don't want it to do, it occurs because there is there's some kind of dissonance in your thoughts, words, and deeds, which means you're thinking something else, you are speaking something else, and then at the end of the day, you're doing something else, right? You think to yourself that maybe you'll not eat a plum cake, okay, because you have a toothache. You think it, and then you keep on telling about it to other people. These two are in alignment. But then when the plum cake comes in front of you, you end up eating it. Same happens with addictions, whether you are addicted to food or anything else, or even to a person or whatever, thinking about certain things or even events in the past. All of that happens because of this dissonance, right? So we have to create this integrity or alignment in our thoughts, words, deeds. There's this reading that I did a couple of months back. I'll attach it. It's on balancing the body, mind, and spirit, and it might be helpful for you. Now, let's try to understand emotions first. Prana, how that energy gets blocked a little, and then maybe what we can do about it with writing, or try to understand our emotions better with writing, okay? Because that is the entire point. So, emotions can be positive or negative. There are so many things that happen in our lives, positive or negative, and they'll keep on happening because that is the nature of living. That is the nature of this samsara. And these emotions, they need expression. When we are sad, when we are angry, when we are happy, whatever happens, like, we need to express them fully and completely. When you're angry, it doesn't mean that you end up breaking, the plates and glasses or whatever. It means that you know that you're angry, and then you are able to process it, but you have to completely feel it. Sometimes we try to bypass our emotions. I shared about this particular thing in the previous video also, which is on the 4 enlightened activities of Buddhas. So we try to bypass these emotions, we try to suppress these emotions, not feel these emotions. And the reason you get into spirituality or understanding yourself is to have the sambhava. What happens when we are not in equanimity? When we are happy, we get really happy. When we are sad, we get really sad. And sometimes, when, let's say, if someone has trauma, right, and then happiness comes, they are not able to experience that happiness properly because they're scared that something else might happen, something wrong might happen. Or if they are very, very, very sad for some reason, they want to suppress those emotions, whether it's anger or depression or grief. They want to kind of bypass it and not feel it properly. Right? That's what's been happening throughout the world, which is why these traumas, they transmute themselves into different other patterns, which in turn give us even more trauma. Right? We talked about this in previous videos as well. Maybe you can go and check. So I drew this little thing for you to see. Um, so when a person is happy, when a person is feeling those emotions fully, completely, whether it's sadness, anger, grief, pride, malice, jealousy, or joy, peace, whatever it is, whatever, if they want to rest, they're resting properly. If they want to work, they are in that moment with totality, doing everything, what is required at that moment. Prana will be able to flow easily throughout the body, right? But most of us, we tend to not feel our emotions properly. If a person is going through some kind of grief and they try to suppress it with a lot of work, they had a bad breakup and then they drowned themselves in work, and they did not feel the pain of that breakup properly and started chasing this different kind of pleasure to keep this pain away. If that makes sense to you, what happens is this prana is not able to flow properly. Okay, and I've got this. Now, when it is not able to flow properly, it starts blocking. Now, this person will start getting blockages in their aura, like around them, and also in their body, like this. They'll start getting blockages. And in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, in Ayurveda, and even scientific studies, they tell what kind of emotion affects which body part. Now, if a person has trauma in this particular body part, then what kind of emotion was stored in it? For example, if someone has a problem related to liver, then maybe they were repressing their anger. Or if they had problem related to gallbladder, then it means it was fear. Things like that. If they have a lot of migraines, then it means that they were at a point, or they still are suffering from overthinking. They're just not able to stay in the present moment. So there are a lot of things. I'll try to attach a chart related to all those emotions and which body parts they affect, and I hope that it helps you and kind of tells you about the pain that you are carrying. So coming back to our point, each of the emotions that we are given, let's say by destiny or by life, we have to feel completely, and when we don't, there are blockages, and when that happens, we become incapable of truly understanding our problems. Let's say if a person gets angry at someone they love, and then they regret, oh, why did I do it and all. Anger is just a surface level emotion, right? What was underneath it? Maybe that person was expecting something from the other. Maybe that person was afraid of something. So there was, let's say, fear under that anger. You have to see why these ups and downs in the emotions are coming. If you're confused, then why is that confusion occurring? There's this quote that says, if it's an unclear yes, it's clear no. That kind of thing. So that clarity that clarity comes only when one is able to see through these layers of emotion. Okay, and writing helps us in understanding all of that, and where all those emotions are coming from, why we keep on sabotaging certain kind of relationships, why do we keep on sabotaging ourselves, why do we behave in a certain way, why are certain things triggering us. Many of us, we have a habit of thinking through things and then we contemplate on them. I'm also one of those. But the thing is, thinking is very, I think, circular. It happens in cycles. So the loops keep on repeating. And it is very internal process, right? Have you ever observed that when, let's say, you are thinking about problem A to B, okay, then there are a couple of steps that you have to take, to reach a particular conclusion. And you can't say that I left off my thinking up till this point yesterday. So let's pick my thinking up from this particular point and then we'll reach the conclusion. No, you'll have to start from point A again. All of this ends up creating even more fog, which is why a lot of people who start contemplative practices or start trying to know themselves a little better, they tend to become even worse because they don't know how to manage everything that's coming up. So we need a structure, we need a container all of that. Okay, even with writing, by the way, a lot of things will come up, but we'll talk about that. This fog, this chaos, yes, it gets removed over time. There are stages of thought. We'll talk about that in another video. No, but until that point comes where you're not thinking anything and you're opening yourself up to spirit to talk, which is like the fifth stage. And it comes after a lot of meditation and all of that. Before that is the fourth stage, when you ask your mind to give you a thought. Only then the thought comes. There's a long process till you reach that particular stage. Okay, and I think not just meditation but writing can be an extremely good source, and also to understand your psyche, to understand your dreams, to understand yourself a lot better. So journal, journal, journal every day. And you might have also observed that sometimes when we are thinking or contemplating, if there's a particular emotion that we are feeling which becomes very heavy or very scary or something, we tend to leave it right there and then take our thoughts somewhere else, right? If we don't have a container. But writing, it's brave, makes you brave, rather. One after another, one after another, things will start coming up, and you'll keep on writing it. You can stop it right there, but next time you can pick it up from the point that you left. So you can also see your progression all the time, and it's basically bringing order to your chaos. There's this Kali video that I did many months ago. Maybe you can check that out. That message was also on coming back to the driver's seat of your life, and there are many messages that might relate to it. You never know. So now what I suggest is that you have a notebook. Phone also works, or a tablet or whatever, but I just don't trust the apps and all these things, even notes. There's no privacy. So if you have a notebook, be great. So first, for everybody who has a particular problem that they're facing in their life right now, okay, whoever you are, or if there's a particular type of trauma or sadness, it can be very triggering again. So this is not a medical advice, just use your own discernment. But I would recommend that if you're not able to forget a particular trauma for a long long time, or whatever, anything that triggers you, any kind of emotion that you felt in your relationship or in your career or whatever, for 20 minutes every day, write about that same thing. And you don't have to pick your pen up from the notebook. Keep on writing it. Let's say if you're not clear about your love life, keep on writing it. If you don't have any words coming up, doesn't matter. If you're thinking nothing is coming up, write that down as well. I am not feeling like this and that. Write that down as well. So things will start coming up by themselves. And every single day you'll see a progression. Sometimes our mind works very fast, like much faster than our hands. So your handwriting, I believe, has to be legible. But even if it's not, just get it out. If it gets really triggering, if it gets sad, if it gets scary or whatever, stop it. Then drop the entire process for a couple of days, and then maybe pick it up again, if you want to do that, right? I don't want anybody to trigger themselves to a point where it gets worse. So don't do that to yourself. Know what you're doing. Okay. And if it needs time, you can take even a year's time, right? But try to process the emotions that you're feeling, because until and unless that happens, these blockages that we feel in our lives, they're not going to go away. This writing can be on anything really: grief, family issues, anxiety, career issues, conflicts, patterns, burdens, your anger that you have on maybe politicians or whatever. All of that, dump it out. And I believe, since most of us don't have anybody to talk to completely, like vulnerably, um, talk to very clearly, because all of us fear that kind of judgment, and we tend not to be vulnerable, so that to make sure that nothing is used against us at a certain point in time. Or I don't know, it's just the times. I think if you have someone who you can share everything with, then you're very lucky. You're luckier than a lot of people, right? So be grateful for them. For people like those, who don't have it, writing, journaling becomes very important. If you don't want to do writing, by the way, then maybe you can switch on the microphone and then speak it out loud on your voice memo every single day. The thing is to get it out and to realize where particular emotions are coming from, which event in your childhood or in your teenage or in your adulthood or whatever is bringing about these particular reactions in you. Since I said that you have to do it every single day, first thing in the morning, the dreams that you had, you can write it. And then if you're having a writer's block, because all of us experience that, so it's okay, it's common. But the thing is that there's fear underneath. You might think, oh, nothing is coming up. There will be something, most definitely. But that's just your ego playing games, because it doesn't want to sort of reveal itself, reveal its facade. Try to find the fear Maybe you've always been taught to suppress yourself. You feel fear of changing, things changing, people changing, or whatever. But life is change, so it'll happen regardless. If you think that you don't deserve better things, if you don't deserve to ascend, to feel joy, peace, true love, that you deserve, or if you've been told ever since you were a little kid to be quiet, and sometimes you might be held back by fear of feeling those memories again, or being too honest, and also never chase perfection. Don't think that somebody else wrote this beautiful prose when they woke up and my sentences are not even making sense. So don't do that to yourself. It's not a race. We are not competing with anybody. Okay, so that might also happen. A couple of suggestions that I can give. One is the stream of consciousness writing that you can do every morning, right? For 20 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes, 20 pages. That's totally up to you. I recommend 10 pages. Um, and also the dream that you saw. Just that. Okay. Or you can do semi automatic writing when your hands start moving by themselves. But I think this stage will come maybe after a couple of days. It totally depends. I don't know, but that can also happen. Like you write 5 sentences and then next 10 they come to you. They're just coming. Now it doesn't mean that someone is saying those words. It's just your higher self, or maybe your subconscious mind, let's put it that way. Trust me, all of us have potential to do that. Okay, it's not kind of saved for some particular people who are very special and chosen ones. No, all of us are chosen ones, all of us are very special. Believe in your own uniqueness. Okay, another way in which a lot of us can benefit is using someone else's voice, like either your higher self, or let's say universe is talking to you like you should do this and that. You could have done this in this situation. You could not do it because you were just a child, and you are held, you are loved, all of that, as your higher self. Look at yourself as God would look at you, someone else's perspective. If you are having a problem with, let's say, your parent or whatever, then write from their perspective. Have a page dedicated to them, and then another to you. And then let's say if it's your father, and then you can write, you said this to me and I felt very angry, and I was angry at you, I was not emotionally available, or whatever the father might say. And then this child who felt something, and I felt like this when my dad said this to me. This also helps you in becoming a little empathetic and kind of putting yourself into another person's shoes, or at least forgiving the other person when you know that they are not capable of certain emotions or feeling certain emotions. Whoever it is, your partner, your child, your spouse, whoever it is, or your boss, your colleagues, the watchman in your building, anybody, the cashier whom you had maybe a fight with. Do that. Do that. Whatever is creating any kind of problem, start writing. Then you also start appreciating other people's strengths. Then you start appreciating your own reactions, your own strengths. Let's say if there was a person whose reaction was very very strong, but you didn't react, and at that time whatever you were feeling were sad emotions, maybe anger within yourself. You didn't react, but you were feeling sad, angry, this and that, processing the entire thing that happened and then ruminating over it. Came back home and cried. But when you started writing, you realized how much strength it takes to not react, to be responsive. That's not running away, that's not ghosting or whatever. A person who runs away from their emotions is also the person who'll run away from the people who love them. Trust me when I say this. And then you'll end up hurting a lot of people who are there for you. And I don't even know how much difference this video is going to make in how many people's life or whatever. I just want to share this because writing has helped me personally a great deal. And try not to edit or omit anything. And there's another very amazing way to, by the way, to heal yourself, especially um, certain stories that you've built around yourself, or something that has become a very heavy part of your narrative. Narratives that you keep on telling yourself. Let's say if there's a person who's having a very bad relationship with a person that they love, and also there's a little bit magic in this. Okay, take a page, write whatever is going on, whatever sad is going on. Let's say if this person is called A and their spouse is called B. A has a problem with B. B said this to A. Blah 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 blah. Write that entire thing on a page. Now take a page, another page of the same size, put it on this page on which you wrote this entire bad thing, and now on this particular page write a good thing, like how you want your relationship to be, but in present tense. Like A loves B this much, and B shows up in this way. How they show up in your relationship, or how you want to show up in your relationship, and all of that. rewrite, overwriting, but on a different page. And then go out to your balcony or wherever there's open space. Take a cauldron or something in which you can put this. When you fold it on the opposite side. For example, if this is the page on which you wrote everything negative, like whatever negative is in your life, you fold it on the opposite side like this. Okay, and then there's this page on which you've written all the nice things. Let's say you fold it like this towards yourself. Okay, and then you can either save it, or you can offer this to fire itself. No problem, it's good for cleansing. Fire is called the mouth of gods, especially in Hinduism. If it's called mouth of the gods, then maybe we should trust that mouth. We are sending our prayers. That one went like this, like, go away, I don't want you. And this one comes here, that I want you. I want this energy in my life. Try to do it. It's miraculous and it's magical. And if it helps you, then do come and let me know if it helped you. Okay, because there are a lot of people that I've shared it with, and I've myself practiced it so many times, especially when it comes to my own shadow work, releasing patterns, people, whatever situations, circumstances that were paining me. This little thing helped me a lot. Okay, and also I think this is about collecting that scattered energy back. You become open to a lot of perspectives. You become open to loving yourself a little more, knowing what you want. A lot of us, we know what we don't want, but we never really know what we actually want. It might be right in front of you, but you might be running from it. Why? Because there might be some emotions that you're not understanding properly. And I think, yeah, also Carl Jung, he used to recommend drawing a mandala every day. Every day he would wake up and draw a mandala of his consciousness on that particular day, whatever was coming. So you can do that, a bit of an art, and then just a couple of lines of writing. I also did that for 1 long year, and it has helped me tremendously, especially my sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra is the one where your creativity is stored, your emotions, your problems, your relationships, how you relate to everybody. That is also stored in sacral, your sexuality. So all of that, it can also be healed with constant writing and constant painting, every single day, just drawing a little. Even this, like, let's say this is also an act of release, so get it out. Even these videos that I make, or if something happened in your life, you can write a story, fictional story your character is doing or living the life, but in reality it's you. At that time also, you'll be able to see things from different perspectives. And then there's one more thing, it's called IFATs. It's a system of parts and everything, where we talk to a part within ourselves. But I'm not going to get into that. What I recommend is you sit in meditation and pay attention to which part or where in your body you feel a sensation which is drawing your attention a little too much. And then talk to that part. Let that part speak. You can do that on a notebook or in your mind itself. If you want to know more about it, then maybe you can learn about parts work and how to do it in detail and whatever. But try to do it. So it's going to help you a great deal, internally and externally. Externally, you'll know what kind of boundaries you need to set, what kind of people you want in your life, what you don't want in your life. Challenges might come, and then you might know that you don't need to react, or how you want to react, how you should react at a particular moment. You feel very clear, very calm, stress free. No unnecessary clutter in your mind, no dimagi show that I was talking about in the previous video. Or you'll have better sleep. And if you watched till here, then here are maybe a couple of questions that I want you to note down and write about. Have your notebook or notes ready, and then let's do this part. What is something which is creating a feeling of uneasiness or hurt within you? Or how exactly are you feeling? If there's no hurt, thankfully, what is it? Okay. Or if there is something, or there's some particular person that you still carry any kind of grudge, malice, or whatever for, and you're on a journey to forgive them, I would strongly recommend watching the video for forgiveness as well. The very first channeling that I did on the channel, and I think it's going to be helpful for so many people. It was for me as well. What is it that you are avoiding? What is it that you're running from? What is it that you feel needs to be said to particular person, and why are you not saying it? Or they need to say to you, and why are they not saying it? Or maybe you can ask yourself, which part of my story feels unfinished? Where do I need fulfillment? Is it career? Is it love? Is it your children? Do you want to travel? There can be so many things. What do you feel about your body? Are you happy with it? Do you feel satisfied? Are you doing everything you can to make it healthy, to keep it healthy? And when all of that is done, you can ask just one question. You can do one question or maybe 10. And then at the end, always ask, what did I release? What did I feel about myself? Because that takes your exploration about yourself even more deeper. So, this is where I end the video. I really hope it was helpful for at least some of you. I'll see you next time. Thank you.